Hey guys, welcome back. Still a bit, little tiny bit ill, but I'm ready to start killing some good old lizards right here. So I'm going to be in control of the High Elves today, up against the Wizard Lizard, who is going to be in control of the Lizardmen. I believe I've played him a couple of times on this channel before. He's a very good player, so I now have to bring my absolute A game. So let's have a little look at my High Elf list. So I do have a front line of White Lions of Chase. These guys are just great in general. I actually really like them as a unit. Forest Strider especially helps. You know, I've got some wooded terrain here, so I'm going to be trying to stick to it as much as possible. And they have a decent amount of AP, and they should do fairly good against Saurus Warriors. Now, just behind them, I do have the Swords Masters of Hoeth, one on either flank. These guys are going to be great at cutting through Saurus, and they do very good against Temple Guard as well, with their, great anti-infantry and the fact they do a decent amount of armor piercing. In the very center, I do have a unit of Phoenix Guard. These are my anti-large guys. They're going to be very, very good at taking down big dinosaurs and so forth. They're very, stoic, anti-large, charge defense against all that nice good stuff. For my lord, I do have Tyrion with his flaming sword, just being a general badass. He's very good at hunting down enemy characters, and is just a bit of a beast overall. I do have a Mage of Life who's just been bringing the healing spells, mainly for Tyrion, but also for this big guy up in the sky right here. I do in fact have a Moon Dragon. So I haven't used dragons too much because I tend to get them killed very easily. But with a bit of success recently with the Forest Dragon playing with the Wood Elves, I thought, you know what, I would try out the Moon Dragon to give it a go, try and give it a bit of protection with the healing. And in the back I do have 2 units of Lothran Sea Guard, which are a hybrid between missiles and spear infantry, so they're pretty decent overall. My opponent has gone very wide. I quite like doing this myself when I play the Lizardmen up against the High Elves. He does have a little bit of an air force with some Pterodon Riders here and here. And in the back, his lord is going to be up in the skies on a Ripidactyl, and it is Tehenowyn himself, flying with his giant stone tablet there, cheering himself on. He's going to be leading his forces. So for the front line, he does have Saurus Warriors with shields, very good choice. Very solid, should be able to cut through, spearmen and so forth, and the shields help against archery that High Elves can often bring. In the back, he does have 2 units of Temple Guard. These guys are just super elite and should be able to go toe-to-toe with a lot of the High Elf infantry. Also great against, cavalry. And High Elf players often bring Dragon Princes or Silver Helms, and these guys will be able to tear them apart quite nicely. On the flanks, he does have some units of Skink Cohort, just to make his line a bit wider, a bit of backline harass. Now over on the right-hand flank, he does have a unit of Cold One Spear Riders as well. These guys will do decent up against Silver Helms and to be able to chase down Illyrian Reavers. However, they will struggle against really, really tough, high-level cav. And it looks like he has another unit hidden in the trees on the other flank. So let's get this going. So both armies are just advancing. I'm trying to stick to the trees as much as possible. Coming up against Lizardmen, there's always a chance they've got some big nasty dinosaurs, which obviously take a penalty in the forest. And my White Lions get a bonus. So I want to keep in 1 unit in there, and this other one's just a bit more exposed. So Lothran Sea Guard can be trading some shots with the Pterodon Riders. Pterodon Riders don't want to stick around. They are obviously quite easy to hit, being rather large. But if they fly around like this, they become a bit more of a harder target. Moon Dragons just scared off this other unit of Pterodon Riders over here, and it's just going to be repositioning, just trying to keep these guys as far away as possible from the main fight. Moving up some of these Lothran Sea Guard and the White Lions, everything's just repositioning a little bit to come toe-to-toe with these Saurus Warriors. I'm dragging these guys out of the forest a little bit as a big breath attack comes down on these Temple Guard, and some huge damage from the Moon Dragon there, killing a couple of these guys and doing quite a lot of HP damage. Now the archers are still going to be pushing up on these Pterodon Riders, just trying to get them out of the air. I don't want anything else kind of trying to compromise the Moon Dragon. Instead, it's now going to be falling back just a little bit from Tehenowyn. I know he'll be able to take them in a fight. I don't want to take any of those shots from these Pterodon Riders as the front lines do engage. So we've got... No, it's not quite downhill charge. I thought it might be a little bit of a downhill charge. Maybe a tiny slope here. As the Sword Masters do run in to back up their brothers, the White Lion. There is a big curse coming down, making all these guys a little bit weaker with their melee attack. Lothran Sea Guard are just trying to ping out Tehenowyn in there, who is rather squishy himself, but he does in return summon a Manticore, trying to get a bit of that backline harass. As you can see, the Skink Cohorts have got round the flank and trying to get on top of these Lothran Sea Guard. The Phoenix Guard have charged in. Of course, these guys outrank the Skink Cohort massively. It's not the kind of guys that actually want to be bogged down fighting. Now, unfortunately for me, my mage does manage to go up a hill, but in return does get picked on by this Feral Manticore, and it's just doing huge damage. And I just did not see this happening. I was trying to mic her away there. You can see I tried to get her away, but just far too late there, and she does start to rout. My flanks are compromised. Luckily, Lothran Sea Guard can fight in combat, but these Terran Riders and these Skink cohorts are going to be jumping on these guys and shutting down that missile fire. Actually, it looks like my opponent might be doing a very clever move here and taking these Terran Riders just to chase off this mage to ensure the mage doesn't come back. So of course the Manticore will deteriorate over time, the mage could rally, come back and do some very decent healing. And losing that healing is a massive loss this early on for me. As you can see, I do have the Moondragon and also Tyrion, who have huge HP pools, and it's great to get that healing. It looks like my front line is starting to buckle a bit here. The white lines do start falling back. My opponent's been great at chasing off units, so he's got these rather cheap Skink cohorts that are just going to turn and start chasing these guys off, getting great value out of this cheap unit. Swordmasters are holding up much better than their white line counterparts were, and they're just cutting down these swords left, right and centre and doing a very good job against this Temple Guard. We do have a pot of strength right here over on the right hand flank with Swordmasters combined with the white lines. And these Phoenix Guards do finally manage to scare off those Skink cohorts, and they're going to be coming back to try and deal with these Cold One Spear Riders. So there's a big fight going on here, as it looks like Tyrion was jumped by these Cold One Riders and also Henowin. The Moondragon comes in and these Phoenix Guard, and they just start cutting these guys down, who are going to have to start to fall back. Now the fight's not going too badly. I mean, I've lost the left flank pretty hard and my backline is compromised, but I still have this very healthy unit of Phoenix Guard, a very healthy Moondragon, Tyrion and some Swordmasters. Who have all kind of bunched up. We're trying to chase down these Cold One Spear Riders as much as possible. Over here we do have one isolated unit of Lothran Seaguard, but they've been holding for a surprisingly long time actually, up against these Skink cohorts and kind of constant pressure into Henowin and Terran Riders. But these guys have actually been really brave, holding this left flank. Now in the centre, the Swordmasters are still fighting. I don't know how they've been going this long. As you can see, there's a ton of dead Saurus all around them, and they're just going to keep on just cutting these guys down for as long as possible. With the Henowin coming in with a nice rear charge there, swooping down on top of these guys, flinging Elves left and right. These guys will eventually start to break. So it looks like our right flank has also finally crumbled. In the back though, we do have Phoenix Guard in a pretty good matchup here. They are up against Cold One Spear Riders and Terran Riders, which is exactly where they want to be. And these Temple Guard are slowly getting cut down by Swordmasters. So all is not lost quite yet. A nice Sung Fang coming down from Tyrion here, trying to catch a few of these Saurus warriors. Big old flames coming out in all directions, and it looks like that might be enough to break these guys and start to stabilise. Looks like they might just about be fine. Henowin is coming in. Very brave strike here from these Phoenix Guard. I mean, as long as he cycles, he should be fine. That is not a combat he wants to get himself stuck in. Moondragon does start to scare him off, as we can see. If we overlook at the whole battlefield, it's all kind of resolved down to this last little fight. My opponent's doing a great job of chasing down my routing units, ensuring they don't come back. These Lothran Seaguard are still holding on this left flank. They've been isolated this entire game. They've done a really good job, you know, just forcing my opponent to have to deal with them. Otherwise they're going to be raining fire into the rear of all these enemies. Now the Moondragon's doing a great job, just scaring off people wherever he can. See the Saurus Warriors are running to the hills. He's just doing a huge amount of damage. My opponent doesn't have too much to do with them, apart from the Temple Guard, who are slowly getting dragged down by Swordmasters and very, very brave Phoenix Guard. Tyrion's in here as well, but he has suffered quite a lot of damage now. I do really need him to get that big old kill when he gets below 20% of it. Henowin's just going above the battlefield, not want to get too involved. There's a lot of units down here which can climb up rather quickly, but he'll just be running around cackling, casting his spells. And it looks like overall I do have a few units starting to rally as my opponent does start using units which were being used to chase down people. However, these Swordmasters do not look like coming back, and these white lines, I mean there's only 11 of them, it's very, very unlikely. It's mainly coming down to the Moondragon and Tyrion, and I mean, well, also these brave, you know, Lothran Seaguard holding back these Skinks. They should be able to deal with them eventually. Looks like these Temple Guards do actually get a little bit terrified, but they are going to be coming back into the fray. And it looks like a bit of disaster for me, so the Swordsmasters have started to run, the Phoenix Guard have started to run, and it is literally just these two units holding down this middle fight. You see the power balance does start to favour my enemy here. These Lothran Seaguard have eventually managed to scare off these Skinks by the looks of it, who instead decide to try and chase some white lines. They are receiving for their efforts though some arrows in the back. It looks like my opponent has noticed this, so I need to send some Saurus Warriors over to deal with these Lothran Seaguard, who are probably very sick now of constantly being charged. The Moondragon did look like he took a big old chunk out of Henowin there, which is very good for me, and Tyrion did get his big kill, and with that, power balance is massively in my favour. That's how important of character he is, how hugely tanky he is. With his 20 Temple Guard here, which is vital for my opponent today. He really needs them to take down this Moondragon and Tyrion. There's not much else that can stop them. If you saw my battle it might have been about a week ago up against Sarmation, you'll see just quite how tanky Tyrion is against basic Saurus Warriors. He just does not go down. He does not care, does not take much damage at all. So it's really important for me to try and scare off these Temple Guard. I do have a few units. Doesn't look like some Sword Masters actually rallied with 6 models. I very much doubt they'll actually get back to the battlefield though without running away. Phoenix Guard have rallied and they're going to be charging in, trying to rally to the king over here. Well, not king, but same thing. He's basically the king in my opinion. I always find it strange you can never play with one of the Phoenix Kings, like on tabletop or anything. So Tyrion always seemed like the actual ruler. And the Phoenix Guard are going to be charging in. They're going to be trying to fend off these Pterodon Riders. They've got anti-large, they should do a pretty decent job, even though they are starting to waver quite badly. Tyrion is also trying to sneak in there, pushing through, trying to assist them and do a bit of damage, but it does look like they've back to break. Now the Moondragon has caught to Henwin at last up in the skies. It's done a ton of damage, it's down to just 570 hit points, and this dragon is right on his tail, hunting him down. However, this has left Tyrion isolated on the ground with, how many units are there? 3, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units down on the ground there, but the Moondragon does turn around, come crashing in with that massive charge bonus. It's going to be really scaring some of these units off. As we can see, some are starting to wave already, and it looks like they might even break. Pterodon Riders are coming down just to try and pin the Moondragon down, I think, to stop its slow mobility. It looks like the Lothran Sea Guard have rallied to the Moondragon here, and they've been pinning some shots at Henwin, who is very, very squishy. So even though there's only a few of them left, you know, all this HP damage does add up. It looks like most of these Saurus Warriors and Temple Guard are starting to break now, as the Henwin does come for a last desperate charge in to try and deal with Tyrion. However, the Moondragon's having none of it, comes crashing into the back, does shatter him off. It looks like with that, it is a Pyrrhic victory for me. Let's go to the end stats there, guys. So very well played to Lizard Wizard there. Super close game. I thought we had it there at one point when I got down to pretty much just the Dragon and Tyrion, and of course that one brave unit of Lothran Sea Guard trying to hold the line. And it looked really bleak for me, but with that big hill to Tyrion, that shifted the power balance all the way back into my favour. And they were just so tanky. I mean, as soon as these Temple Guard got taken out and the Cold One Spear Riders, there wasn't too much that could actually do any damage to the Moondragon, who with its cycle charging and supporting of Tyrion managed to actually win the day. So very well played to my opponent. Played you a couple of times now, man, Lizard Wizard. Always a pleasure to play him. Very nice guys. I hope to see him again on the ladder. And yeah, my army, I think it played pretty well. It's quite a different high-up army to what I usually use. It's very small and elite, and as you can see, the Swordsmaster's 110 kills, 118 kills, Dragon 133, and Tyrion 129 were all really the MVPs here, just being able to tear Saurus apart. So hope you guys enjoyed that battle, nice little high-off victory. If you did, please do leave a like, subscribe, comment, all that kind of good stuff. And if you do want to support the channel, I do have a Patreon down below. So on the 19th, guys, which is Wednesday at 8 PM, I'm going to have my first ever stream, which is going to be super cool. And we do have the Death Before Dishonor tournament, so we do have our 4 competitors now who are going to be facing off in a best-of-3 showdown against each other. It's going to be really exciting, so hopefully I get a few of you guys to tune in. Peace, peace. See you next time.